It is the Jim and Terry Show coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in Bobcaygeon. Bright sunny day, a little on the chilly side. Those tulips are looking a little frost tinged. You know the way the green gets yellow where the frost has touched it. Well, signs of spring nonetheless. Tulips are coming up. Crocuses, daffodils are all coming up. The grass is green. It's looking like spring. It's a time for optimism. It's a time for renewal, I think. And so that takes me to something I mentioned that I would start with, and that is Alberta. I said I'd get to Alberta in that previous podcast. Well, I never did. Alberta bound, I wish I was Alberta bound. Gordon Lightfoot. No, I don't really wish that. There's been a lot of Alberta news, some trash talking in the news. Alberta separatism on the growing side? Or is it an illusion? Well, that takes us to some interesting stuff. And I'd really like to start off with Charlie Angus. Gotta love Charlie Angus, former NDP representative in the Parliament of Canada, representing Northern Ontario. He's really become a flag-waving, elbows up, rah-rah Canada cheerleader, and he has a lot to say about Alberta and Danielle Smith. Here's his opening Substack story for today. Quote, "The Leningrad hot dog maker and the destruction of Canada." Wow, that's a heck of a headline. His opening sentence doesn't pale in comparison. It goes, quote, "Danielle Smith loves playing with matches. It's what political arsonists do, but the surrounding dumpster fire at the Alberta legislature is about to ignite into a four-alarm fire that could engulf the country." There's your opening sentence. How is that? Is that alarmist? I'm not sure. It's maybe telling it like it is, because who is the hat guy, the cowboy hat guy who went down along with Jamil Javani from an MP, conservative MP from Oshawa, who went down to his pal J.D. Vance's place in Washington to say, to bring back home a message from Trump. Trump loves Canada, was the message from Jamil Javani. I'm not sure about that at all. Jeffrey Rath, the guy with the white Stetson, the white cowboy hat, 10-gallon hat, went down to Washington to what? Secure funding? How much? 500 billion? What? For an interim separatist government. What is going on? I'm not sure that I like the sounds of all this stuff. So here's one from the Walrus, which is a satirical place that I love to reside and read and absorb once in a while. Alberta separatists are chasing a total cowboy fantasy. Well, that seems about the sum of it. That article was published in March of 2026. Alberta separatists are embracing the archetype of the true Albertan. The true Albertan apparently has a 10-gallon hat and loves to rustle them cattle. Meanwhile, the drill baby drill influence of Trump and company is in Alberta, in the oil and gas companies headquartered in Calgary. So we got some conflicting interests here. One is environmental, one is oil and gas. The two don't seem to meet. I don't know whether you remember or not, but the rebranding of BP and I forget the other European, Shell perhaps, when they cleaned up their logos and made it look like a blossoming green logo, and as in drilling for oil is a green thing to do. Like, do you really think that people can't read through this? Yeah, there's nothing green about drilling. Nothing green about good, clean coal. Can you believe that Trump actually put those things together? Clean and coal in the same side by each? That's awful. But some people swallow it and believe it, and, drill baby drill, mine baby mine. And Alberta seems to be on the cusp of something not too good. I'm not going to use the word nefarious, but Charlie Angus may say that, and maybe that's where we should say it too. So taking a look at his article, he links Alberta separatism to the playbook of Vladimir Putin, specifically to the figure he alleged in the title, the Leningrad hot dog maker. Do you remember the name Prigozhin? He led that private army. Well, his real thing was a hot dog seller in Moscow. And then he somehow finagled his way into being in the Moscow presence of Putin and earning credibility with Putin, and ended up with his own private army. That's the guy who's going on. His expertise apparently was in propaganda. And that is where we pick up the thread with Charlie Angus, who goes on to say that all that we're seeing, this misinformation, this rah-rah Alberta separatism, isn't Alberta great, and Alberta needs to separate and join the United States because that's where the oil flows, and Trump signed a deal to build a pipeline so Alberta can ship 500,000 barrels a day down to the United States. New pipeline, the one that was canceled by Obama, is now on the way, in the works. But to serve who? To serve Alberta. Alberta. What? Well, unfortunately, international deals, unfortunately for Alberta, international deals have to be negotiated by the federal government, not by Alberta. So Alberta falls under the federal jurisdiction and cannot sell and cannot market to the U.S. or any other entity without federal government supervision or input into the terms of how that's all going to work out. So what does the bot army have to do with anything? Well, Charlie Angus, and I'll put a link in the description, talks about Elections Alberta, talking about releasing intentionally. I'm going to maybe say it was just not quite intentional until it goes to court and it's proven to be intentional. But there are a couple of million Alberta voter registries that are now public accessible. You can find voter information online, and that is a violation of your secrecy, your right to privacy. So who did it? Well, an Alberta separatist group. Who did it? Well, they were influenced by MAGA. Who did it? Well, MAGA is influencing or being influenced by Putin. And where does this come down to? An agency called the Internet Research Agency, which, if I can take you back in the time machine to the days of Robert Mueller's investigation of Trump's complicity with Russia. Russia, are you listening? Yes, they were. And Mueller found instances of prosecutable stuff with the president. And the stuff that he recommended, he couldn't find enough evidence to convict him of collusion. But he did say there's reason to talk about obstruction, and that is a crime as well. So the Internet Research Agency was found by Mueller to be one of the Russian agencies that was convicted in the courts, convicted of meddling in the U.S. elections in 2016. All right, so this comes right back down. This is now 10 years later. And this is a well-written article. I'm not sure I'd have to follow up all the claims in here, but it links a lot of the dots. It's like a connect-the-dot drawing. And it does come back to 2016 and Russia. Are you listening? Yes, they were. Yes, they are. And Trump is still taking orders for whatever reason. Is it the Epstein files? I don't know. But it would be interesting to see this drawn into a tight circle, and if the FBI or CIA were to do anything and prosecute this, it'd be interesting to see it go to court and see what evidence would lead to a conviction. Is there enough to lead to a conviction? Well, the allegations here in Charlie Angus' article is talking about dirty money from Russia, local crime bosses. Dirty money. Well, does that sound like the administration south of the border? Possibly. All right. This playbook, by the way, is also one that was trialed, that means tested in the field, in the Brexit movement. That vote was tampered with by Russia using the Internet Research Agency's propaganda. And we had a Canadian whistleblower in that one who called out Brexit and said we can do it. And they did it in Africa for a test run as well, to seeing if they could manipulate people by using bot armies. to influence them, to plant seeds of doubt, to say, what, Canada's broken? Would that be a bot message from the IRA, the Internet Research Agency? That's not funny. I was going to say it's funny, but it's not in a lame way. Well, there you go. I'm not sure how much more to go of this, but watch the name Prigozhin. And apparently he was brilliant in his way of saying we can take down the United States and other democracies by using bot armies and sowing seeds of dissent, seeds of conspiracy. Have you heard? And whisper, like the whispers in the darkened shadows of the corridors. Yeah, gets to be sounding like conspiracy theories, but Dean, I was going to say Charlie Angus. Next up, Dean Blundell has some interesting stuff to say. I'll talk about him. Alberta bound? I don't know. Bye-bye for now.
It's complicated, this relationship I have with my morning coffee. It's from the way that I